What's up everybody, it's Wyvern here, and in today's video we'll be taking a look at the recap of my first Ferocious Cup tournament. Now this is only one of two tournaments I'm able to do this month, the other one being my Go Stadium tournament. Ended up being pretty busy and had to take priorities over Pokemon Go, so unfortunately I am only able to do the two tournaments and the one live tournament. Now my Go Stadium tournament is going on right now, and I'll get the recap of that up as soon as that concludes as well. This tournament took place last Sunday out in Peachtree City, Georgia at the Mellow Mushroom. Huge shout out to Team Harmony for hosting that one. I had a great time and I'm really glad I was able to make it out there. Now fair warning, some of these matches include a little bit of lag, but it was mutual. It ended up happening on both sides and didn't really affect the outcome of the matches all that much. So with that being said guys, let's dive right into the footage. In match 1, we are up against Wolfsong, and after seeing the double poison on his team and getting Skuntank as the lead against me in a lot of practice battles, I decided to go with Garchomp as a lead, which is kind of a strategy I took throughout most of this tournament. I would lead with Garchomp in the first match, and then lead with Lairon in the second match, since they oftentimes would tilt and end up leading with the Alola Ninetales to counter the Pokemon that they weren't that familiar with. So I'd almost get the 2-lead matchup right there in both games and end up winning it that way. The games I didn't win were honestly ones where that didn't end up working out. We get the Outrage there without him shielding. You see that Mudshot just charging up energy like crazy. Matty F baby, I see you. I did get that second move on the Garchomp. You can see how it works out here. A lot of times I go with Outrage just because it's the quicker move by 1 or 2 Mudshots, and when they're going to be shielding most of the time regardless, it's going to be dealing same type attack bonus as well. So really the only time I use Earthquake is when it would be hitting super effective as opposed to neutral or resistant. There I did end up using the Outrage even though it was resistant, just because I figured he was likely going to shield that, and I wasn't sure if I'd be able to survive long enough to get to an Earthquake. We're going to be coming in with the Lairon against the Alola Ninetales, and he opts not to switch out. We know that's not one we need to shield, so we can end up saving that. We're going to be going for the Body Slam. We overcharged a little bit to maybe try and get a shield out of him as well. Have him think it might be a Rock Slide coming at him, and we do get that shield out of him there. So now we are up 2 shields to 0. This Lairon is pretty much just going to be able to down this Ninetales with Metal Claws, and we're going to wait and see what comes in. But we have another Pokemon in the back and plenty of energy stored up in addition to our 2 shields, so things are looking really good for us right here. He's going to let that switch timer tick down just a little bit, try and figure out what comes in. He might have lagged. I'm not sure what was going on there. But regardless, we do see that Vaporeon come in. We know Rock Slide is not going to be doing much to it, so we're going to be going for the Body Slam in hopes that we can maybe get to one more before he's able to down us with Water Gun. It looks unlikely at this point, so we pull up the thing, try and switch, not able to get to it. Decide to stick in with the Lairon since we have 2 shields. Him charging up a bit of excess energy doesn't matter all that much. And at this point, we do run into our first lag of the tournament. Like I said in the intro, it was on both sides. He starts lagging a little bit there, so he might have gotten 1 or 2 moves behind, but we agreed to just roll with it since I was pretty ahead at this point. We see the Aqua Tail come in. Gonna be shielding that there, and we're just going straight for a Wild Charge. In a shields down scenario, that is absolutely the best move to go for against a Vaporeon. Brick Break could be a good shield baiting move if he has those, but since he doesn't, we're just able to use the Raichu to take down that Vaporeon and go 2-1 in this match. This match against Intensely Eric is going to be the second match of the round against him. In the first round, I led with Garchomp, he led with Lairon, and it didn't work out. So I anticipate the Ninetales lead here and go with Lairon, which is honestly the full strategy of my team. It's not one I really developed until I got to the tournament and ended up using Garchomp as a lead a lot. It's not one I really fleshed out in practice, but it ended up working pretty well at the tournament. He's going to switch into that Shelgon, so we are going to follow suit with our Ninetales. We misclicked on the switch there once, but ended up able to get it. Those charms doing a number. We decide to shield here just in case he has Flamethrower, and it ended up working out for us because he does, and that Flamethrower would have been devastating to our Ninetales, and we would have lost our Shelgon counter right away. We're going to wait and see what comes in here. Not much we can do since we just switched, don't have enough energy for Ice Beam. All we can do is tap like crazy and hope those charms are able to hit whatever comes in pretty hard. Ends up being the Ninetales mirror match. Since it took a bit of damage from the Lairon up front, it's a pretty neutral matchup. However, we have a bit more energy charged up, so we are going to be going for that Ice Beam. He ends up burning a shield on it, so we are going to be pretty equal at this point. I believe this ends up being a tie. We're really close with him. And they are able to down each other at the exact same time. He wasn't able to get to a charge move, unfortunately, and we weren't able to get to a second one. We're going to wait and see what he subs in before we sub in our Garchomp. Ends up being the Linoon, so we have a pretty decent matchup here. Both of us have one shield left, and we are just barely able to get to that outrage before he is able to get to his charge move. Maybe he overcharged for the grass knot, I'm not entirely sure, but regardless, we are going to be going for that outrage against him. He is going to shield there, don't get the animation. Turns out he was going for the charge move. We just ended up having charge move priority. So we're going to burn a shield here to keep that Garchomp alive and try and get to another outrage to finish off this Linoon before he's able to land a grass knot on us. It will certainly be close. We end up switching into the Lairon since we had energy charged up and realizing that Linoon is his last Pokemon. We don't need to save that Lairon for anything. And then we have enough energy charged up on that Garchomp to where even if he finishes off the Lairon with a grass knot, we should theoretically be able to come back in with the Garchomp, finish off enough energy to get to an outrage and close out the match. Really hoping we're able to get to another body slam here, and we are just barely able to before he's able to get to another grass knot. I'm assuming it was pretty close there. Obviously didn't see his energy bar on it. Wasn't counting moves either. And it turns out the Garchomp does not need to come back in. Lairon is able to finish him out, and we went 3-0 that match. This match against Maglarosh is the third one of the round. I won the first one, he won the second one, so this is the rubber match to decide it all. He led with Vaporeon in the second match and had good success with it, so I led Raichu in the third match to try and anticipate that. Did not work out, end up with a poor matchup against the Rhyperior, but Brick Break will be hitting it super effective if we're able to land it, so we are going to switch in here. Obviously don't have a water type on our team either to try and counter that, so really this is our best option at this point. Just kind of stinks that we don't have Raichu to close out the bag against a likely Vaporeon. Regardless, we are able to get to 2 Brick Breaks before he's able to get to a single charge move. Those Smackdowns definitely dealing a good bit of damage to the Raichu, so we have to be careful with him from here on out. Ended up having the CMP tie there, so he's going to get his charge move off now. And since he didn't burn a shield there, we are going to shield the Raichu. Try and get that last shield out of him or knock out the Rhyperior. Either or would be great and a good way to start off the match. So we are able to get to that one last Brick Break. I'm assuming he was 1, maybe 2 Smackdowns away from downing us. Regardless, we are able to get the Excellent on it, and that is going to knock out that Rhyperior. Now we're going to see what comes in, but it doesn't matter a bunch since it will probably just look at that Raichu funny and knock it out. Ends up being that Alolan Ninetales, so we're going to let the timer switch down just a little bit. Try not to get the switch glitch. I've noticed that happens when you switch in really fast, so that's what we were trying not to do there. He's going to sub out, so we're going to bring in Garchomp. Water Gun dealing a decent bit of damage to it, more than I would ideally like to take, but it's not super effective like Charm is. It's hitting it neutral since it does have that Dragon typing in addition to Ground. We're going to pop off an Outrage here, and he is going to end up shielding that, hoping to get to another one before he's able to get to another Aqua Tail. I'm going to shield this because I know that's really my only chance of winning this match is if I'm able to get to another Outrage. Ends up being Last Resort, which would also not be fun to take damage from. So we're just tapping that Outrage as fast as possible, and we are just barely able to get the Outrage. I'm assuming he was just this close to another Last Resort. It was certainly a very close match, but we are able to get to that Outrage first. So now lastly, we have that Ninetales coming in. I tap on the switch timer you'll see there, but it wasn't down all the way, so it's just going to come in and knock out the Garchomp with those charms. But regardless, we are going to be coming in with the Lairon, just going for that Rock Slide to try and finish it off since it does have that Ice typing. Lairon, I think, is another sleeper pick in the Ferocious Cup. It's a very strong Pokemon, and I enjoyed it a lot in my tournaments. So that is going to end up winning the match for us against Maglarosh. In the last round of the tournament, we are going up against a very strong trainer in Robbie Aquinas. We are both 3-0 to this point. This video is going to be from the second match against him, so we are going to be leading with Lairon. Now, something to note in the first match is he went Umbreon, double poison. He had Skuntank and Nidoqueen, so that's something I kind of have in the back of my mind for this one as well. But we do get in with the Lairon versus the Skuntank. We're going to be trying to go for that Rock Slide. I shield baited him with the Lairon with Body Slam in the first match, so I'm hoping to maybe play a couple tricks with him here and try and land a more powerful same type attack bonus move with Rock Slide. I haven't seen Flamethrower on Skuntank at all in the tournament yet, so I don't think I'm super worried about it. We opt not to shield. It does end up just being a crunch. We're going to be going for the Rock Slide, and it ends up doing a decent bit of damage to that Skuntank. Potentially the turning point in this match. We are able to down it just with Metal Claws, and we have almost enough energy charged up for another Body Slam. We're going to overcharge a little bit and try and land another Rock Slide. Make him think we might not have enough energy for more than a Body Slam. Maybe try and fake him out a little bit here. So we're going to be going for that Rock Slide. Ends up landing once again, but Umbreon's such a tanky Pokemon, it doesn't really even matter. and at this point we're going to be trying to go for the body slam. I'm going to think about shielding here, do end up doing it. Probably should have saved that for the back end, but it ends up working out since we are able to charge up to a rock slide now at this point instead of a body slam. It does stink that we had to expend a shield for it, but it is nice to be able to get to that rock slide, either deal a good bit of parting damage or force that last shield out of him. So it does end up landing, and at this point we know a body slam might not even knock it out. It's a pretty tanky Pokemon, and we don't want to burn our last shield, not even knowing what his last Pokemon is. So we're going to let the Lairon go down, and we're going to be coming in with Garchomp. Expecting that Nidoqueen in the back, we are going to charge up energy, try and absorb this move. I know Umbreon is able to absorb one charge move from Umbreon. Unless it's last resort, I think that takes it a lot lower, but Foul Play is certainly able to tank one. So we're going to charge up just a bit of energy and then switch into the Umbreon. Try and tank this next charge move without having to burn a shield. And then now we have all that energy on the Garchomp for the last Pokemon that he has. So we're going to hope to burn a couple shields with the Umbreon and then come back in with that Garchomp and knock out whatever it might be, since any charge move from a Garchomp is going to be dealing a lot of damage. Try and down him just with Snarls there instead of having to use a Foul Play. Unfortunately, he is able to get one more Foul Play off on his end, but regardless, we are able to knock out his Umbreon and try and hit what comes in with a Foul Play ourselves. It does end up being that Nidoqueen, so I called that right, and it's a very good thing we have all that energy charged up on the Garchomp. Surprisingly, he lets that one go through instead of burning a shield on it. Now we have one more Foul Play that we're able to drop, so we're going to be going straight for that as well. Umbreon, a very tanky Pokemon, and it should be able to tank at least 1 to 2 charge moves from this Nidoqueen before we even have to worry about it. So we're just going to be trying to get up to another Foul Play at this point. Those Poison Jabs definitely dealing a good bit of damage, so we're going to burn a shield here to make sure the Umbreon stays alive, because it is imperative that we at least burn one, if not both, of those shields that he ends up having left over at the end of this match. We are going to be going for the Foul Play here, and it's at this point, obviously, he has to burn a shield because he has 2 left, and another Foul Play would knock this out. So we get that first shield out of him there, and then we're going to charge up a bit of energy here, switch into the Garchomp, and drop an Earthquake to get that second shield out of him. Since I know that's what he was saving it for, I don't want any world where he knocks out the Umbreon and then has enough energy to knock out the Garchomp when it comes in, and all that energy went to waste, ends up costing us the match. So I didn't want that to happen, so the Garchomp is able to come in and get that last shield out of him and get that charge move out of him at the same time. So we know he has used all his energy at this point, and the Umbreon that we charged up enough energy on is able to come in and drop that Foul Play and win the match. Unfortunately, even though I won this one, I ended up losing the next one. So I did lose to Robbie Aquinas in the finals, but 3 very close matches.